Hey guys, so for today's video, I wanted to talk about my newfound love of audiobooks, and I wanted to share some of my favorite apps for listening to audiobooks. So let's begin with a little bit of history. Prior to this year, I never really listened to audiobooks. Growing up, audiobooks were always suggested to me or highly recommended to me by teachers. Now the reason for that is because I'm legally blind. And so for me, reading print, although I love reading it, can sometimes be a little bit difficult. I'm a slow reader because of my vision issue. I get tired of reading like books physically because of my vision issue. And subsequently, it takes me longer to get through classwork assignments and things like that. And so teachers wanted me to use audiobooks so that I could keep up with the rest of the class. However, the problem with that was that the audiobooks that were given to me were like audio textbooks and things like this were really poorly produced. The people who read those audiobooks read them in a monotone voice, and so instead of being engaging, they tended to make me want to fall asleep. So because of that, I shied away from audiobooks. So fast forward to this year. Earlier this year, I really wanted to read a Game of Thrones. However, if you guys have seen a Game of Thrones, it is a huge ass book with relatively small font. So I decided to try out the audiobook version. And oh my goodness, I am so glad I did, because ever since that point, I have been listening to so many audiobooks. I have also discovered that I actually enjoy nonfiction. Again, prior to this year, I never really read nonfiction. I have tried to read nonfiction in the past, but I get kind of bored with it and I just end up putting the books down. However, thanks to audiobooks, I now listen to nonfiction books. I find them entertaining and engaging and just a great sort of addition to my reading library, or, the stuff I like to read. I am so glad that I decided to give audiobooks a chance, because I feel like it just has really sort of changed my life and it has really opened up my reading world. So now I wanted to share with you guys 3 different apps that you guys can download onto your tablets or onto your phones, or you guys can access online, where you guys can listen to audiobooks for like nothing, for free of charge. All you're going to need is a library card. So the first app I wanted to talk about is Overdrive. Overdrive works in conjunction with your local library, so you will need a library card to access this service. On Overdrive, you can download e-audiobooks or traditional e-books. Now this service is like a library, so depending on how long you are allowed to borrow a certain title, that's how long you have to read it. You can also renew titles, and after sort of your lending period is over, the books sort of just self-destruct. The one downside was Overdrive, and this isn't Overdrive's fault, this is just the way the library chooses to, format their books, is that with the audiobooks, they usually come in either MP3 format or WMA format. And since my library doesn't have every single audiobook in both formats, sometimes it's only in MP3, sometimes it's only in WMA, I would prefer if everything was just in MP3 because it makes my life easier. I can listen to the books on my phone or on my computer or on my tablet. If the books are only in WMA format, I can only listen to them on my computer, which kind of sucks. The second service that also works in conjunction with your local library is Hoopla Digital. Now Hoopla Digital provides e-audiobooks as well as streaming digital video content, kind of like Netflix. I think the only downside with this particular service is that they put on limits on how many titles you can borrow in a month. I don't know if that's the same for everybody. For me, I'm only allowed to borrow up to 10 titles in a particular month, which kind of sucks because I really don't want to be limited with how many things I can borrow, but at the same time, I've never borrowed more than like 5 things in a particular month, so it's fine. The third and final app I wanted to talk about is LibriVox. To use LibriVox, you do not need a library card. This is an absolutely free service, and this app/website provides audiobooks. However, all the audiobooks in this particular service are all books in the public domain. The one downside with LibriVox is that the books are usually read by a volunteer. These aren't professional like audiobook readers or actors or anything like that. So the audiobooks are not always the best quality. If you guys are interested in trying any of these services, I will go ahead and link their websites in the description box below. So that is all for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget that you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Goodreads. All my social media is linked in the description box below. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel because that would make me very happy. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!